Watch about her email scandal. You remember that Clinton was ordered by a judge to provide these responses. We are just going through them. Chief Legal Correspondent Shannon Bream has been going through them for the past few minutes. Shannon, what are we learning?
Well, there's a lot here, Brett, and as we go through what we just printed out, these many pages of questions that she was given, 25 questions from Judicial Watch. This represents the very first time, the only time that she has been given sworn testimony, because these questions are sworn testimony, with regard to setting up her email servers. Now, she objects to many of the questions. Many of her answers say simply that she objects. It's outside the scope and she won't answer. She's also asked numerous questions here about her emails. Did she know they would be subjected to FOIA or Freedom of Information Act requests? Did she know that they were being kept or cataloged in any way? It says in many of her answers that she assumed because the people she was emailing back and forth with were on the state.gov system, they were being cataloged there, and she does acknowledge that these emails would have been subjected to those FOIA requests. So she says that she knows about that. Now, she's asked specifically in one of the questions whether she was aware or warned at any time that there would be potential for hacking against her emails. And she says she does not recall being advised, cautioned, or warned during her tenure as Secretary of State about hacking or attempted hacking of her ClintonEmail.com email account or the server that hosted her ClintonEmail.com account. Now, this is the lawyer in me, but I want to think that we can parse some of these answers because she may have been more generally advised. We know that there were policies in place, warnings about secure systems, how to use things, where not to use your Blackberries, those kinds of warnings. Her answer, though, in this question says that she doesn't recall being specifically advised about potential hacking to the Clinton email system. Well, if a lot of people didn't know about the Clinton email system, they wouldn't have advised her specifically about that. We know that she was part and parcel of sending out a warning to employees at one point, to all State Department employees, warning them that there were certain security precautions that they should take and they should know about. And so Judicial Watch asked specifically about that too. If you sent this out, I believe June 28th, 2011, when you're advising other people not to take these chances, then why were you doing so as well? So there's a lot to get through here. There are questions about her Benghazi testimony as well. We'll keep digging through and get back to you as soon as we get to more of those answers.
Yeah, if it pops up, come back to us. And you are one of the best at reading and interpreting legal documents on the fly.
We try.
After being outside the Supreme Court. I think we might learn a little bit more, perhaps, just listening to you from the WikiLeaks emails about the email server than perhaps these answers. But we'll keep on digging. Yeah. Shannon, thank you very much. Hillary Clinton builds on her lead, and Donald Trump fights back against new allegations of sexual assault. The panel discusses when we return.
Have you ever done those things?
Have respect for me, and I will tell you, no, I have not.
Did he actually kiss you?
Yeah.
On the face, on the lips?
Wherever he could find a landing spot, yes.
These vicious claims about me of inappropriate conduct with women are totally and absolutely false. We already have substantial evidence to dispute these lies. It will be made public in an appropriate way and at an appropriate time. You take a look at her words. You tell me what you think. I don't think so.
The whole world has heard Trump brag about how he mistreats women, and the disturbing stories just keep coming.
Many of us were worried about our children hearing it when we turn on the TV. And to make matters worse, it now seems very clear that this isn't an isolated incident.
Well, just some of the sound today as we have these new allegations against Donald Trump, allegations that, as you heard, he strongly denies. We have new polls out today. These are post-debate polls, and you can see Hillary Clinton 45-38, and a shift here since October 3rd, the last time we polled. If you look among independents, that has really taken the biggest drop in this poll for Donald Trump, from 41 to 35 over the past few weeks. The opinion of the two candidates is also upside down, but more so for Donald Trump in this particular poll, the unfave numbers. And finally, an interesting poll for Congress as we work to determine the balance of power. This is Democrat or Republican, and you can see the shift there. 4842. Right before the break, we had Shannon Bream with the breaking news about the documents in the Judicial Watch case that Hillary Clinton answered. And again, these answers are under oath. We've been going through the answers. Shannon is back with us with the breaking details. Shannon, something interesting that Hillary Clinton answered here.
Yeah, and Brett, she was asked specifically in one of these questions, after the lawyers completed the review of your emails in clintonemail.com, the account in late 2014, were the electronic versions of your emails preserved, deleted, or destroyed? If they were deleted or destroyed, what tool or software was used to delete or destroy them? Who deleted or destroyed them? And was the deletion or destruction done at your direction? Probably a reference there to that use of bleached bit that we've heard so much about that makes it virtually impossible for things to be recovered. She objects to the question being outside the scope of this case, but she does say, with that exception, she says it was her expectation that all of her work-related and potentially work-related emails then in her custody would be provided to the State Department in response to that request. She believes her attorneys retained copies of emails provided to the State Department in 2014, but doesn't have any knowledge about the details of that process. She decided once her work-related and potentially work-related emails were provided to the State Department, she had no reason to keep her personal emails, which did not relate to State Department business. And of course, there's been a big dispute about whether everything work-related was turned over. But the last sentence there says she believes that her personal emails were not kept, and she does not have any personal knowledge about the details of that process. So again, there she was asked point blank, did you tell someone to destroy them? What software was used? How was it done? Was it done at your direction? And she says she does not have any personal knowledge about the details of that process. First time we're hearing that.
Think about that. Under oath, she says she has no idea how the emails were erased and how BleachBit was used on her server. And this is after the FBI director, under oath to Congress, said they did find work-related emails on the server, and they know that she didn't turn over all the emails that dealt with stuff at the State Department. So this is under oath. I mean, what you're reading here is a under oath response to Judicial Watch.
Right. And again, what Judicial Watch had pushed for, what they wanted was an in-person deposition. That's the best case scenario when you're pursuing a case like this. The judge said, no, I won't let you do that, but she will have to answer these sworn questions as a sworn under oath. This is a court document now. Her camp celebrated at the time, saying we won this because she didn't have to give a deposition. At the same time, Judicial Watch was celebrating, saying, no, she's going to have to testify under oath. It's not the way, the medium in which we wanted her to do it, but we're still going to get these answers, and it's the first time again answering under oath about her server. And again here saying, I thought everything I had turned over was done and handled, so when it got down to personal emails, I didn't think anything else needed to be preserved, but I don't know the process of how they were deleted or destroyed. I don't know that they were. I didn't direct it.
And that's actually stunning. I want to keep you for 1 second. The emails from WikiLeaks, this is chain number 1. These are emails dealing with the server request from Congress. This is a subpoena that has now been issued. Nick Merrill says, I think we should avoid being no commented here, but we need some guidance, even if it's simply to say we've turned over all of her work email. Take the unprecedented step of asking the State Department to release it, and when we do, which we hope to be soon, we're confident that everyone will see that it's all there and then some. Philippe Raines, close associate of Hillary Clinton, responds, worth remembering, though, that Gowdy last week on the record said his committee doesn't have the authority to seek the server. And then after some back and forth about the language of the statement they were going to release, Nick Merrill sends back Cheryl's, this is Cheryl Mills, Chief of Staff, feedback was that the last line, this goes far beyond the normal practice and anything further is simply playing politics, was too much, particularly based on the teachings of the vulnerability meeting today. So they had a vulnerability meeting about what they should release and what they shouldn't, what they should talk about, what they shouldn't. And this is once they have a subpoena and before the server is erased, and she's saying she doesn't know how any of that happened in sworn testimony.
And she's also asked specifically about Brian Pagliano. As people may remember, he apparently was part of an immunity deal, somebody who would have known about the handling of these things. She's asked specifically about that. Any communications between you and Brian Pagliano concerning or relating to the management, preservation, deletion, or destruction of any of your emails? And the question goes on a little bit, but that's basically it. Again, she objects to the question as being beyond the scope of the case, but ends with this. Secretary Clinton states that she does not recall having communications with Brian Pagliano concerning or relating to the management, preservation, deletion, or destruction of any emails in her clintonemail.com email account. Brett.
All right, Shannon, continue to go through that if you would. Thank you for the breaking news. We are going to take a break, and on the other side of the break, we'll bring in our panel for some analysis of what we just heard and the day's events.
It's not coincidence that these attacks come at the exact same moment and all together at the same time as WikiLeaks releases documents exposing the massive international corruption of the Clinton machine, including 2,000 more emails just this morning.
Donald Trump responding to these new allegations. We also heard from Hillary Clinton and the First Lady today with an impassioned speech about the allegations and about Donald Trump. Let's bring in our panel. Charles Lane, opinion writer for The Washington Post. Mercedes Schlapp, columnist for The Washington Times, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. First, Chuck, I want to talk about what we just heard and kind of what we're gathering about this email stuff. I mean, it seems pretty clunky, and some of the behind the scenes here suggest that it was very coordinated to figure out how not to answer the subpoena by Congress to turn over the server before it was erased.
The ins and outs of this, as we're right on top of the reporting of them, so we'll have to figure all that out as the story evolves. I think the number that's relevant to this comes from your poll today, which shows Hillary Clinton still at only 33% honest and trustworthy. Whatever comes out of this latest round on the emails, I don't see how you drive that number down a whole lot lower. In other words, what I'm saying is, politically, I think this whole thing has been processed, and not in a good way for her. But it also has to be weighed in context, the context being everything going on the other side with Donald Trump, which has been, if anything, a lot worse for him. So just as a political matter, again, bearing in mind that we may get a lot more clarity about this over the next day or two, I don't think this is a death blow for her or anything close.
Mercedes, these women have specific allegations. They say pretty much all of them said they were coming forward after the debate and what he said, answering that question, that it had never happened. We don't know the legitimacy of all of the claims, obviously.
Right.
He denies them strongly, but they're serious allegations.
Right.
And it's affecting his chances.
Well, every day that the media is focused on the